Welcome to this brand new explainer. Okay, so have you ever wondered if buying a house or a shiny new car actually makes you wealthy? Or could it be the biggest financial mistake of your life? Today we're going to look at the math behind ownership. Because what if I told you that in 2026, buying these so-called assets might actually be making you poorer?
You know, growing up, pretty much all of us heard this classic piece of advice from our parents or just society in general, right? Owning your own house and having a car parked out front is the ultimate sign of being settled. It's like the ultimate benchmark for success. And it's incredibly relatable, especially for young professionals who are just trying to navigate their careers. It's a deeply emotional milestone.
But we really have to ask ourselves a hard question here. In the rapidly shifting economic landscape of 2026, is buying a car and a house literally the biggest financial mistake you can make? Like, are we just falling into this trap of ownership just to look successful? Okay, let's dive into this and move from the cultural myth to the actual mathematical reality of modern economics.
Section 1. The harsh reality of car ownership. Is it an asset or a liability?
So let's say you go out and buy a brand new 12-lock rupee hatchback or compact SUV. You might think your only real expense is just that initial price tag, right? Well, let's break it down. Your monthly EMI on a 7-year loan, that's going to be around 18,000 rupees. Then you add, say, 5,000 for fuel and maintenance, maybe 1,500 for insurance and taxes, and then there's a hidden 6,000 rupees for depreciation. When you add all that up, that 12-lakh car is actually draining over 30,000 rupees from your pocket every single month.
And hey, speaking of that depreciation cost, here's a pretty brutal fact for you. The exact second you drive that brand new car out of the showroom, it instantly loses 20% of its value. Boom! Just like that. A massive chunk of your hard-earned money just vanishes into thin air. Crazy, right?
So what's the solution here? Enter the 1,000-kilometer rule. Basically, if your daily travel isn't fixed and your total monthly driving comes out to under 1,000 kilometers, renting cabs or using long-term car rentals is actually 30 to 40% cheaper than owning. So, unless that car is directly generating business revenue for you, or you literally live somewhere with zero public transport, utilizing cabs just makes way more economic sense.
Moving on to Section 2, the house buying dilemma, the rent versus buy reality. Okay. Let's set up a baseline financial scenario for buying a standard flat in a major city, think Delhi, Mumbai, or Bangalore, in 2026. Let's say you're buying a 1 crore rupee house. You're going to need a 20-lakh cash down payment right off the bat. Then, you take on an 80-lakh home loan at an 8.5% interest rate, and that's stretched out over 20 long years. Now, let's contrast that. Buying that 1 crore house saddles you with an astronomical monthly EMI of around 70,000 rupees. But if you choose to rent that exact same house in the exact same neighborhood, your monthly rent would probably only be around 25,000 to 30,000 rupees.
And that leaves a massive difference. By simply choosing to rent instead of buy, you're generating a surplus of 40,000 rupees every single month. That is 40,000 rupees of liquid cash staying right there in your bank account, rather than going straight to a lender.
Now I know exactly what some of you are thinking right now. It's that classic, almost automatic defense mechanism. But rent is wasting money. Paying an EMI builds an asset for the future, right? It's honestly the biggest blind spot when it comes to personal finance, and we really need to unpack it.
Because here is the really shocking reality about early EMIs. If you look at the first 5 to 7 years of your home loan, 70% of your EMI is just paying the bank's interest. Only a tiny 30% is actually going towards building your principal asset. So for the better part of a decade, you're primarily enriching the bank, not yourself. Let that sink in.
Which brings us to Section 3, the opportunity cost strategy, turning rent into liquid wealth. So, the absolutely crucial point here is what you do with the money you save by renting. Here's the turnkey strategy. You take that 20 lakh in cash you would have used for a down payment, and you take that 40,000 rupee monthly surplus from renting, and you invest it. You put it systematically into mutual funds or an equity index via disciplined SIPs over that exact same 20-year period.
And this just brilliantly illustrates the magic of compounding. Mathematically, after 20 years of disciplined investing, your liquid investment corpus can literally be 2 times larger than the total valuation of that property you wanted to buy. This proves the massive opportunity cost of capital. Basically, by renting and investing the difference, you come out significantly wealthier.
All right, Section 4. When does owning actually make sense? The balanced caveat.
Now, I'm not saying you should never buy. Here are the strict rules of thumb you really must meet before buying. First, emotional stability, meaning you know for a fact you plan to settle in one exact location for your entire life. Second, you are cash ready with low debt, meaning your calculated EMI will be strictly less than 30% of your take-home salary. And third, it's an appreciating asset. You're buying in an area where the real estate growth rate is consistently higher than inflation plus your loan interest. If you meet all of these, then yes, owning is a sound decision.
But for most of us, we need to remember the core takeaway from this analysis. In 2026, it's crucial to actually become rich, rather than crushing your 20s and 30s under a massive mountain of EMIs just to look rich. Don't let societal pressure force you into a financial trap.
So I'm going to leave you with this provocative question to ponder. What is your strategy going forward? Are you going to fall for the EMI trap for the sake of appearances, or will you take the mathematical route to rent and invest your way to true liquid wealth? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, share this explainer with someone who's currently house hunting, and make sure you subscribe for more data-driven breakdowns just like this one. Catch you next time.